Hi, everyone. My name is Sara Esquibel, as Ariana mentioned. So I'm the Open Data Coordinator for NYC Parks and also a project manager in our Innovation and Performance Management division. And it's great to have so many people here that are interested in learning about New York City park trees and the map. So before we jump into that, which I know is why you're all here, I just wanted to take a couple of minutes just to share about Parks data. So Parks manages a lot more than what you might think. In addition to parks and trees, we have beaches and pools, rec centers, marinas. We have Parks Enforcement Patrol, and we have urban park rangers. We even have our own fleet division that manages a diverse array of fleet of vehicles. And then we also have our own capital division to manage the construction of parks and playgrounds. And I'm sure there's so many more that I could name off, but that's just to give you a sample of what we have here. So all of this lends itself to a very robust trove of data to help manage our operations. Here you can see this is our agency's mission statement. So our mission is to plan resilient and sustainable parks, public spaces, recreational amenities, build a park system for present and future generations, and care for parks and public spaces. So everything that I just mentioned before feeds into our agency mission. And along with that, we have, I've listed just a few here of our key open data sets. So the first one, it's actually a data collection. It has information related to service requests, trees, inspections, and more on parks, urban forest. So this is the forestry management system, also known as forms data collection. We have two experts here though, that would be Uma and Adam. So I'm not going to go too much into detail on that one, and they can talk more about it if they'd like. The other key data set, the next one is the daily tasks park cleaning records. So we have parks workers out in our parks every single day that pick up litter off the ground, they bag up the trash, they clean up graffiti, they clean the public restrooms in the parks. They're doing all of this, and it's captured digitally in an app that is called Daily Tasks. It's on their phones. And so that data is then published to open data. So if you, as a member of the public, want to see, how parks in your district, how frequently they're being visited by our Parks M&O staff, for cleaning and maintenance, then you could do that just by going to open data and looking at this. We also have our capital project tracker. As you may be aware, our parks undergo renovations, and sometimes we even get new parks. So if you've ever walked by a park and seen that it's closed for construction, you can check out the capital project tracker and actually see the progress of the construction and learn more about what's going on there. And then lastly, we listed parks properties, and this is just a comprehensive list of all of our parks that are managed either partially or solely by our agency. So the NYC Parks website also has a page devoted to open data. I'm dropping the link in the chat now, so you can see other key agency data sets and also learn more about our program here. And I guess that's it for the brief introduction to NYC Parks open data. Please visit us. We have social media links here as well. And without further ado, I will pass it over to Adam Cohen, who can talk to you more specifically about the NYC Parks tree map.
Thanks so much, Sara. So as mentioned, both Uma and I are here and represent the Environment and Planning Division, which has its own mission statement, which is to protect, restore, care for, and expand New York City parks, natural areas, and tree canopy to maximize benefits for environmental and community health and resilience. And we're both part of the data systems and analytics team in environment and planning. And so what we do is we develop tools and applications to collect, manage, visualize, and analyze division data in support of data-driven management, operations, planning, research, and advocacy. So one of those tools that we help develop is the New York City tree map. So what is it? Since we're going to be going into great detail on this, I'll say succinctly, the tree map is an interactive map product that was first launched in 2016 to a general audience, and it's the most comprehensive and up-to-date living tree map in the world. Data for the tree map is derived from Parks' urban forestry activities, all posted as data sets on New York City Open Data. So the journey for development began with the 2015 tree census, Trees Count 2015, which provided the most accurate representation of our urban forest to date. As a note, all three of our historical tree inventories are available on open data. From the 2015 census, we were able to provide insights to the general public and embarked on building a product to best display this data and empower citizens to advocate and care for the natural resources around them. In collaboration with New York City Parks' digital media division, we built and launched the New York City Street Tree Map in 2016 that lets anyone see the details of the street trees in New York City. In the following years, Parks upgraded our internal asset management tools to improve our data collection efforts with a new app, and also adopted our risk management program to improve service and adhere to the latest industry standards. And most recently, just a couple of months ago, the street tree map was upgraded to the New York City Tree Map, since it now displays all trees managed by New York City Parks, and even the results of all work on New York City trees by Parks. So where does the data come from? As mentioned previously, the data in the tree map comes from our urban forestry activity, which is recorded in our internal forestry management system or forms application. So what you're seeing here on the left is the New York City tree map, and on the right side is the forms mobile application. They have very similar interfaces. The data that's visible on the tree map comes directly from forms, and the data syncs on a weekly basis. To provide some insight into the data collection process, here's an example of our most common workflow addressing service requests. When a service request is sent to 311 from constituents, either calling 311 through the website or through 311's mobile app, they flow directly into Forms. In fact, Forms was the first application citywide to establish two-way integration with 311. And we have a history of building applications to respond to public requests as efficiently as possible. So from the service request, a forester or inspector heads on site to inspect the service request condition that's reported. Inspections are completed based on our tree risk management program to perform more systematic and preventive tree care and meet the 311 service level agreements at the same time. And then if warranted, a work order will be created in Forms and is then prioritized for assignment and completion based on the results of the comprehensive inspection. And behind the scenes, our team has developed many dashboards, reports, and tools to help organize our operations and increase efficiency and capacity. Here's another comparison of the tree map on the left and the Forms mobile app on the right. For this particular tree, which is in Columbus Circle, a honey locust, we can see the species and size information publicly on the map. And in Forms, users have more operational information front and center, like the condition of the tree and the date and results of the latest risk rating. The tree ID number cascades from Forms and is searchable via the data set on open data as well. So while we have Forms and it's a platform that we can see the full tree history of inspections, risk assessments, and work, anyone else can do that with open data as well. Now, talking about the design decisions in the creation of this product, it was very important to create a tool that was interactive, informative, and useful. Here are some things that you can do through the features and functions of the tree map. And I'll be doing a short demo at the end of this as well to display this. You can view each neighborhood statistics of total ecological benefits, number of species, most common species, and stewardship activities in the area. You can favorite trees that might have special significance to you, keep close tabs on their health and contributions to our city. You're able to explore different parts of the city, filter out specific tree species and their distribution, and find out how your neighborhood helps contribute to make New York City greener and healthier. You can submit 311 requests to the specific tree, where in other 311 request platforms, you can only provide the nearest address. And this is really helpful for us to find those issues quickly. You can use Street View imagery, which we deem superior in our opinion to Google Street View. It has a higher zoom ratio. It's a feature that we have in Forms, and it really helps our staff track seasonal changes to tree health and inform decisions. And finally, you can even suggest edits to the data. So if you're an arborist or an armchair arborist, or just notice something that looks off on the map and you want to contribute to the quality control of our urban forest, please feel free. We have staff review the suggestions for accuracy and then implement those changes in our inventory once verified. So I'll hand it off to Uma here.
Thank you. So we, focused thus far on what the tree map is and some of the design decisions that went into it. And so now what comes next? because we're always working, on how to improve our products, increase transparency. So we know that there are some instances where the tree map doesn't exactly reflect what we see when we are walking around the city, that there are some gaps in our inventory. So one such example is Central Park. Here's a screenshot of the park on the right hand side. It's south of the reservoir around 85th Street, and it just kind of looks like a blank green canvas, right? It looks like there's no trees in Central Park, but we know that that's not true. And so the reason for this is that Central Park Conservancy manages those trees within the park itself and not the Parks Department. And so as we talked about earlier, the data in the tree map, it comes from our forestry management system, which is for trees managed by the Parks Department. So no Central Park trees in our system because there's no trees in the map. But one of our goals is transparency, and from a user perspective, they might not even know or care who manages which trees. They're all still New York City trees, right? You're in Central Park, you see a tree there, why isn't it on the map? So to that end, we are working with the Conservancy to set up data sharing so that we can display all these trees and paint a fuller picture. Another example is East River Park. There is a phased resiliency project happening in the park right now to mitigate against sea level rise. And some of this work includes tree removals, but those removals aren't yet reflected on the tree map. So we know that there's these gaps. We're working on identifying them across the city and working to resolve them. We also want to increase the depth of information being shown in regards to the tree attributes. Every planting season, our foresters are selecting new species of trees to ensure that it is appropriate for the site, that it's suitable for the climate. And so in doing, we discover new species, we discover new cultivars that populate our urban forests. And so we want to make sure that all of these species are being reflected on the map so that we can accurately show you the complete diversity of the city's urban forest. And also we are working on updating the calculations for the ecosystem benefit numbers. When the tree map was originally built, as we mentioned, it displayed only street trees. And we calculated benefits at the time based on a methodology developed by a company called iTree. In partnership with the US Forest Service, they developed models that assess benefits from trees, but we now need to update this model specifically for carbon dioxide storage to ensure that the correct formulas are being used to account for the unique types of benefits provided by park trees. So when you go on the map now and you look at the benefits section, you'll see this sort of disclaimer text that says, we're recalculating these numbers and kind of, we'll be back. Next slide. We also hope to continue engaging in conversation about the tree map with other parks departments across the world. With the recent update to the map that happened in December 2022, where we started showing our park trees and also all of the work that happens on the trees, including the inspections and the work orders. We received lots of really great and positive and encouraging feedback and press. And here's an example from Bloomberg News. And because of that kind of positive press, we have other cities have reached out to us to speak with us about their own desires to do something similar, and they wanted to engage in a conversation about how did we do this, how did we build it, what data do we use, what kind of design decisions did we make, what has the reception been. So we really want to continue in that spirit of knowledge sharing. And looking a couple years into the future, we have the 2025 tree census coming up. We do one every 10 years, with the first one having been conducted in 1995. So in a couple of years, we'll get out there and we'll count every tree. It's a hugely important snapshot data set for us. It lets us understand how and where our tree population has changed. We use it to make policy and management decisions. We use it to think about where we might need to increase our funding and advocacy efforts. We use it to think about how to allocate resources. And the last few times, it's been a volunteer-led effort. So, hopefully you can help us out with this in a couple of years. Next slide. And so how can you get involved in some of these efforts? As we mentioned, one of the big goals of the tree map and how it was designed was to be interactive and to encourage community and engagement with your surroundings. So you can begin by participating in stewardship events. There's a running list of them on our website. There's an example here of some of the smattering of events that are available and open to the public over the next couple of months. And when you participate in some of these events, or when you care for the tree in front of your building, record it. You can log in and record that activity, and we track this information. You see the statistics we have citywide on the right-hand side about how many activities have been reported, how many trees have been favorited, etc. And that information is helpful to us. We track it to understand where our trees are being cared for and where we as the Parks Department can help support that. And as Adam mentioned before, you can also use the tree map to report and alert us of any tree issues that you see or have. And unlike other agencies here, you can link it directly to the asset that you're calling us about. And then you can go ahead and track the progress of your request, whether or not we looked at it and what happened as a result of our looking at it. So I just clicked on a tree here on 85th Street, and you see the results that pop up showing what the Parks Department has done. So in December 2019, we went out there, inspected the tree, realized that it needed some pruning work to ensure that we keep it healthy and safe for the public. And then a few weeks later, you'll see that we went ahead and completed that work. So you can kind of track step by step how we're stewarding our forest. Next slide. And how you can get involved is we always love to see the creative and new ways that people take our kind of data and products and run with them. The link here, or the screenshot here, is to a Twitter post. Someone from Brooklyn made a video, posted to Twitter about how much they love our tree map and how it's gotten them more engaged and invested in the city's green spaces. And it's really great. I encourage y'all to watch it. The link is here. It's funny, it's heartwarming, and it's great publicity for the tree map. And other examples are of how people have used open data to create their own visualizations and how they've branched out. There's a couple that I've listed here. NYC Tree 11. Are you able to navigate to that, Adam? Thank you. This is an example of a partnership that has resulted from us working with the Urban Tech Hub at Cornell. Though they have consulted with us about what we might want to show, all of the data is coming from open data. And so here they've grabbed the service requests data set, inspections data set, work orders data set, and are really building a dashboard of sorts, right, to think about looking at performance across the city, across time. And so really useful for the public to audit us on our actions, but also for us to think about how we can use this to improve our performance. And then just back to the presentation, there's people have used Tableau to build really cool visualizations as well. One of these is in a very, very narrative format, and it's really informative, and kind of keep scrolling, and it tells you by borough how the tree population is distributed. and all the attributes associated with it. And so it's just a really cool way other people have kind of taken our data and run with it. And so the data sets that have been used to build this tree map, though they come from our internal management system, there's obviously lots of things you can do with just accessing what's on open data. And of course, on open data, we have data dictionaries and language on how you can join all these data sets together. So, really feel free to explore and design. And I think we can just give you a really quick demo on how you can navigate the tree maps. I'll hand it back to Adam for that.
Thank you. All right. So this is the New York City tree map. And as you can see from a high level, when we first get to the page, you can see the statistics that Uma kind of highlighted before on the left-hand side, all of our citywide statistics. We have 537 tree species in our urban forest and counting. I know that there are at least 7 more that we are yet to add. The most common species is the London plane tree. That's 10% of all of our trees in our urban forest. You can see some recent tree care activity. You can learn about or find stewardship events, and you can see the ecological benefits of the entire urban forest. And then from the map, you can see kind of summaries based on the geographies. So these are the borough borders. And I'm just going to keep double clicking and zooming in and showing you how far we can kind of get in with all of this data and how it gets represented. So I'm just going to click on Queens. And we zoom into a neighborhood level view as this is loading up. And the left-hand side also dynamically changes, so you can see the borough statistic now. So in Queens, we have 450 different species. London plane tree is still the most common species here, accounting for also 10%. Some recent tree care and some ecological benefits. Now I'm going to double click again and zoom into the neighborhood of Forest Hills, and let's see if it lives up to its name. So again, neighborhood statistics. So in Forest Hills, we have almost 8,000 trees, 212 species, and London plane tree is still the most common, and it accounts for a little bit more, 15% of all of those trees. Some recent tree care, ecological benefits, and you can see all of these tree points on the map. And I'm just going to zoom in a little bit closer to more of a block level view. So you can see on the map, all of the trees are symbolized based on these points, and the colors of the points indicate different species. The sizes of the points are related to the diameter of the tree. So the larger the diameter, the larger the dot. So I'm just going to click one at random. This is a live demo, so we'll see what we get. But you can see here, I've clicked on a pin oak, and it's 31 inches in diameter. And we have this great street view, which I mentioned. And again, you can even, from your desk, kind of identify based on the shape of the leaf, get really close in there. Or see kind of conditions and issues from your desk. You can see the latest inspection results. So this tree was inspected back in 2017. And you can see this individual tree's ecological benefits. So this is almost as close as we can get, but if you want to get a little bit more granular, we can apply some filters too. So there's 2 ways to do this. One is to open up the tree species and sizes filter here. But I'm also going to click here from view all pin oak trees on the map. So I want to see just only pin oak trees. So now I can filter the map, and here I have just what's available here from pin oaks in this neighborhood. Get some more information about the pin oak tree specifically. How many of them are in our urban forest, how many times those trees have been favorited, the benefits that just the pin oaks provide. And I can go even a little bit further. And if I want to see just the largest pin oaks, I can check and uncheck by tree diameter. And I can see, well, the one we selected is the only one right here that is over 30 inches in diameter. But I can zoom back out and we can take a look across the neighborhood. We've got a lot more of them. So a lot of really cool things that you can do. Another, just clicking back to an individual tree. A few other things that we highlighted. So I just want to mention that I'm logged in using my account, a personal account. I can favorite a tree, so add it to a short list. I can report a problem, as we mentioned. So what that does is selecting this brings you to the NYC Parks site where you can finish filling out a service request form. I'm just going to click cancel here. I can suggest an edit. So if the diameter has changed over time, anyone can come in and suggest that edit if perhaps the species is incorrect, or if you have any other notes that can all be submitted here, and then it will be vetted by our staff and updated in the system. And the last thing I can do for each tree is record tree care. So I want to mention too, I'm on the desktop computer, but you can use this map on your mobile devices, on your phones and on your tablets. And if you're logged in, you can go from tree to tree if you're doing a stewardship event or just volunteering on your own time and record your activities. And it's as simple as putting in the date, how long you spent on an activity, and you're choosing the activities that you did. So if you pulled weeds and cleared some litter, and you can just submit, and that activity gets tracked along with all of the other stewardship activity within the map. So very briefly, the last part I wanted to cover is just this My Trees section. Again, I'm logged in, and it's a really cool view that you can see. So if you have your own personal activities, like I just showed, you will see them over time and compare them to this blue line, which is activities across the city. So this is all time since the tree map began in 2016, or you can look at it from the last 6 months or the last 12 weeks. And you can also see your favorites. So I have a couple of favorite trees from some past apartments that I've lived in. You know, the tree that you see every day, you can put your favorite there and just see, you know, when it was last cared for or how it's doing. And that's a really nice kind of personal way that you can keep track of things going on in the city. So I think that covers our demo. And I wanted to thank you all for attending. Thanks to Uma and Sara for helping out with this presentation, and Ariana and OTI for putting this on today. And we're happy to take any questions, either in the chat or if you want to unmute yourself and or raise a hand and reach out. We're open.
There were a handful of questions that came in through the chat. If we just want to go through
Great.
them. Yeah. So one question, are self-reported street care activities published to an open data set?
Yes, there are stewardship. The stewardship data is published through Open Data Portal. You should just verify when the last time it was updated though, and if it wasn't updated anytime in the recent past, let us know.
Thanks, Uma. Next question, can you share the links to both of the resources that were just mentioned? I think that was on the page a couple slides back.
Oh, it may have been
These ones. Yeah.
The presentation is going to get shared out, right? Okay, so the link.
Okay, awesome. Is there a way to see trees that have been removed or destroyed by storms? The current map sometimes shows gaps where trees used to be, no dot, and also alludes to trees still there even though Parks removed it. Along those lines, stumps, it would be nice to see where the stumps are still awaiting removal and ones waiting for a new planting, removal of old stump. Is that type of info available in the open data set? That would be helpful to community boards and civics when advocating for more trees due to storm loss.
Yeah, I can feel that. So the tree map is meant to be a little bit complementary to a lot of products we have available. There's something called the Tree Work Hub, also available through our website, and on there you will see you know, work that's being done, whether it's planting or stump removals or sidewalk repair. So there is a separate hub through which you can kind of view work that's being done at a more granular level. On the tree map, you know, it'll say a work order has been created, and it'll give you the work order ID. So if you want to follow up on that specific one, you can, engage in correspondence with us. And then you can also go to the Tree Work Hub to find a little bit more about what's happening now and also what's scheduled in the future. It also shows you a little bit of a future view for work that we know is contracted out. The question about, can we see where trees have been removed or destroyed by storms? We don't quite display our data that way, if a tree was removed due to a storm or not. It's just not quite curated for that view.
Right. You could use some of the open data data sets, looking at work orders or looking at trees, and you can see trees by their structure. So if you were interested in seeing stumps, you can go to the open data set for that and take a look at it. There's some great visualizers too on open data.
Nice. Thank you both. Okay. Is there data about tree pests such as spotted lanternflies?
Not through the tree map. There'll be, if a work order was created due to, we also I don't believe are managing spotted lanternflies that's a state level management. But for a pest like, emerald ash borer, for example, which we manage very much so at the city level, there will be, a work order. It'll say a pest and disease is what it's called. A pest and disease work order has been created. But again, if you want to find out a bit more information about it, I would just download the work order data set itself from open data.
Thanks. What technical tools did you use to build the interactive map tool? Is it open source?
That's a great question. I think it's a custom code that was produced by our digital media team.
Yes, it was developed in-house. It's a combination of PHP and Symfony, but the forestry management system that feeds into this is also a custom built geospatial asset management system. So all kind of, so none of it really is open source, unfortunately.
Did you use all the options in iTrees Eco or just height, diameter, and species?
That's a great question. And I don't know the exact answer to that. I would have to follow up with our scientists and get that answer for you.
Do we know which mapped tree has the highest total benefit?
That's a fun question.
No, but I'm sure you can figure it out using open data. We don't know the answer off the top of our heads though.
Right. I will plug. We do have a great trees list that is getting kind of reviewed. It was, I think the last time it was updated was 2014 or earlier even. And so there will be a submission form on the Parks website, I think pretty shortly, if not already, to submit your submissions for great trees for various reasons, whether they're ecological, cultural significance, etc.
Somebody had, I think this is just a comment, your tree match from data through design exhibit. Paula, if that's a question there, feel free to drop it in the chat. Next question on open data. I saw other databases from monuments and things like drinking fountains. Is there a list of bridges which are located in parks? I don't think so, but maybe I'd have to go and check. Also saw a database for high resolution roster of map of NYC. Do you need special software to see the map? All I can do is download a zip file. The files inside the zip files are too huge. That is from Igor. I would have to look into that. I don't think you would have to need special software to view the map. You might be able to just do the visualization within open data, but I'd have to look into that. And as far as bridges, I can also look into that. And let's see, I don't know what the best way is to get the answer to you.
Sorry, just really quickly. So for this one, I just want to say, like, if we do find out that we don't have this data already available, Igor, you can send in a public request to our open data help desk, and then we can it'll take some time, but we can try and organize with the people at Parks to get the data that you want to see up there if it is available, and if not, we'll be able to communicate with you why we weren't able to do that. I actually dropped a link for the contact us page for the help desk in the chat, so you guys can see where to go there. Yeah,
Awesome. Thank you, Ariana. And you put that in the chat?
I'm about to right now. I'm gonna pull it up
Awesome.
right
Okay. Okay, great. Thank you. Is there a way to assess the canopy and shade of trees from the data?
Way to assess the canopy. So on open data, there is a canopy data set that shows change that's occurred over a time period from 2010 to 2017. I don't believe there are shade attributes associated with it, but again, I would have to double check. But the canopy data and the canopy change data is on open data.
Thanks, Uma. Okay, I've used the NYC tree map to report damage to street trees, but the process has been more than a little discouraging. Is it possible to integrate 311 tree damage service request data with the map as opposed to just a summary of the inspections? That way citizens could see how many problem reports have been made and base future advocacy efforts on that data.
That's a good suggestion. I think since it's only been about 3 months since we have started putting the tree inspection and work order summaries, I think that they will start to build up over time, and you might get a little bit of that inherently. But I think we'll just have to think about that and see if there is a way to improve the product if it fits within kind of the framework.
Yeah, and that could also be a good project. Open Data has, and now the name is escaping me, so Ariana or Oliver, somebody who wants to pipe in, but there's if you want to submit a project using open data, pairing 311 requests with this data, that could be an interesting project to make and submit to open data so that they can, have it on their website.
Yeah, to answer your question, that's our project gallery, which I'll also drop a link to.
Okay, so Ariana's going to drop the chat or drop the link to it in the chat. Okay, is there a list of species, tree shrubs, any kind of vegetation that NYC data has at park level? Also, I know you mentioned that parks that are managed by conservancies don't have in-park tree data. Roughly how many parks are missing tree data because of this?
So I don't think there's a specific data set that shows, a list of species at park level, but you would just be able to download the tree point data from open data and just filter by the ones that are in parks, and you would get that, list yourself. And as far as parks that are managed by conservancies, I pointed out Central Park because I actually think that's the only one where we don't have the tree data available to show in our system. There's lots of parks that we partner with their conservancies, Prospect Park Conservancy, Washington Square Park, but Central Park is unique in that they manage their own trees and we don't. And so that's the only example where we don't have that data. So I think Adam is going to some parks across the city, and you'll see we can see their data, the tree data in there. Central Park is really the only one. And which is also why we're working with them to get this data sharing going so that all of our park trees are available in one place in the tree map.
That's right. And here's Prospect Park.
Awesome. Okay, can the general public submit data about the cleanliness of parks? I walk my dogs and some parks are not clean because of other dog owners. Shame on them. Yeah, I think really the only way to do this at this point would be to put in a 311 request. Although, I mean, we do have, we generally try to visit our parks. We're held to standards of visiting them, depending on a lot of different factors, how frequently they're visited, how busy they are, how big they are. But we visit them anywhere from 1 to 7 days a week. It just kind of depends. So hopefully somebody is out there cleaning it. But yeah, as far as submitting the data about the cleanliness, I think that might just be a 311 request, which maybe is not the most exciting. Okay. Do street tree maps include information on maintenance of tree beds as well?
Yes, so we can even see here some recent tree care activities. So here we can see a member of NYC Parks stewardship team weeded, managed soil around, mulched, and cleared litter waste around this tree here, which we can click and see. And those are all activities related to the tree bed. I hope that answers the question.
Another question related to the tree beds. Some tree beds have plantings. Would it be possible to record those plantings?
Good question. There is an option to do landscaped planted flowers here. Perhaps that's the way to do it, but we might be able to follow up with the park stewardship team to see if that's applicable, or perhaps we need another option.
Thank you, Adam. And then somebody said also, could observations from the iNaturalist app be used to identify trees in Central Park?
So Central Park has their own tree inventories, and they're spatial. They conduct one every several years. So we have the information, and we also have information on the activities they do on these trees, if they require work, etc. It's just a matter of getting that information into our management system, which then feeds into the tree map. So the data is there. It's kind of just a technical and policy decision to make sure that the data is displayed.
Okay, thank you. I don't see any other questions. If I'm missing any, let me know. Are there any other questions? We have about 10 minutes left.
I'm seeing a couple more just following through. Wondering if one could change the way the New York City tree map segments the varied geographies of the city, for instance, from neighborhood to other types like zip code, community board, or by borough or district, whether assembly, city, school, or senate. That's a really interesting idea. I think that would be great for us to take back to our digital media team. And I think that's the last question.
I actually see a follow-up about the stewardship activity on open data. Looks like it was last updated a long time ago. So that's actually a follow-up for us to look into that and make sure that it gets refreshed on a more regular schedule. So thanks for looking into that.